Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're tackling something so fundamentally woven into how we communicate that we honestly almost take it for granted. I want to set the stakes right out of the gate here. Without nouns, language, storytelling, the sharing of human ideas, all of that would be utterly impossible. You literally couldn't name the world around you. So we're demystifying the noun, looking at how these incredible building blocks actually work to construct the English language. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. 1. What is a noun? 2. Meet the noun families. 3. Countable, uncountable, and gerunds. 4. Showing ownership. And finally, 5. The many jobs of nouns. Let's dive in.
Section 1. What is a noun? The building block.
Let's anchor this with a baseline definition. A noun is a word that identifies people, places, things, or ideas. Now, we all learned the person, place, or thing rule pretty early on, right? But I want you to really focus on that word ideas. Nouns aren't just physical objects you can stub your toe on. The things a noun can identify are both tangible, physical objects and completely intangible concepts.
Think about these distinct examples. Albert Einstein, Mount Vesuvius, a shoe, freedom. We go from a specific historical genius to a massive geological volcano, to a piece of everyday footwear, to a high-level philosophical concept. It brilliantly demonstrates the sheer and credible versatility of what a noun can represent. If you can conceive of it, a noun can name it. For writers, grasping this vast spectrum is what allows for true precision in describing the entire human experience.
Section 2. Meet the noun families, types and subtypes. Since nouns label literally everything in the universe, it really helps to categorize them. The first major split is between proper nouns and common nouns. Proper nouns identify specific capitalized names. Think of Old Faithful or Tina. They point to a unique, singular identity. Common nouns, on the flip side, are the generic, uncapitalized names of items in a class, like a river or a girl. We don't know exactly which river or which girl just by the noun itself. It's basically the difference between saying, I want a car and I want a Porsche.
What's really fascinating here is the clear contrast between physical things we can actually sense and intangible ideas we simply know exist. Concrete nouns are things you can perceive with your five senses. You can hear a doorbell. You can feel a sticky keyboard. Abstract nouns, however, cannot be seen, touched, or tasted. You can't put courage in a box and you can't weigh freedom on a scale. But they're just as real, and grammatically, they function exactly the same way. Leveraging these abstract nouns is precisely how we elevate our writing to discuss big, universal themes.
And then we have the collective nouns. These are super fascinating, and I want to highlight them because they have a fun little grammatical quirk. Collective nouns denote a whole group of things, like a pack of lies or a pride of lions. But structurally, within a sentence, they act as one single entity. Because you're talking about the single group as a whole, they typically take a singular verb. You'd say that pack of lies is disgraceful, not are disgraceful. It's a collection, functioning as a single unified unit.
Section 3. Countable, uncountable, and gerunds. Quantifying our words. Let's explore how we actually quantify these building blocks. Countable nouns are exactly what they sound like. You can easily pluralize them. 1 cat, 2 cats, 8 cats. You can count them right out on your fingers. Uncountable nouns, sometimes called mass nouns, represent concepts, collections, or physical substances that you just can't isolate and count on their own. You definitely can't say, I have 3 milks, or give me 4 informations. Air, wealth, milk, they exist as a mass.
Because uncountable nouns are an undifferentiated mass, they come with some tricky rules. You can never use the singular indefinite articles a or an with them. No saying a sand. Instead, they're modified by the or some, as in, could you move the furniture? Or I need some information. But what if you really need to isolate one specific part of an uncountable noun? Well, you use a workaround. You express it in countable units. You say a piece of property or a grain of sand.
Okay, time for a really fun grammatical plot twist. The gerund. Gerunds are absolutely the shape-shifting rule breakers of grammar. A gerund is a verb form ending in ing that functions entirely as a noun. It's used to name an activity or an action, completely blurring the line between an action and an object. It is essentially a verb putting on a fake mustache and sneaking into a sentence to do a noun's job. This illustrates perfectly how these verbs in disguise take on noun roles. Look at these two straightforward sentences. Swimming is fun.
Swimming is an action, sure, but here it's the subject of the sentence. It is the thing that is fun. In She Loves Dancing, dancing is the direct object. It's the thing she loves. They are actions packaged as concepts.
Section 4. Showing ownership. The possessive case.
We've talked about what nouns are, so let's shift gears and look at how nouns show relationships, possession, or ownership with the other words around them. The mechanics of possessive nouns all come down to apostrophes, and the rules depend entirely on the type of noun you're dealing with. If the noun is singular, you just add an apostrophe and an S, like the cat's toy. If it's a standard plural that already ends in S, like nieces, you just tack an apostrophe onto the very end, my niece's prom outfits. And if it's an irregular plural that doesn't end in S, like children, you treat it like a singular noun and add an apostrophe S, the children's drawings.
Let's pause to address a very common stumbling block. What if a singular noun already ends in the letter S or Z? Do you write bosses with another S or just bosses with an apostrophe? What about Brussels? The truth is, it's often just a matter of following a consistent style guide. Many style guides suggest sticking to the general rule and adding apostrophe S anyway, so boss's house. But others prefer dropping that final S for the sake of visual elegance or pronunciation. The golden rule here? Simply pick a style for your document and stick to it consistently. Section 5. The many jobs of nouns. Sentence architecture.
We are finally shifting from what nouns are to the vital jobs they do to build sentence architecture. Because a noun's true power comes from how it behaves in a sentence. The crucial point is how different nouns function as subjects and objects in the exact same scenario. The subject is the star. It does the action. Maria played. But nouns can also be direct objects, receiving the action. Cleo passed the salt. The salt is what got passed. And then we have the indirect object, the recipient of the direct object. Cleo passed Otto the salt. Otto is the noun receiving the salt. Subject, direct object, indirect object, all built with nouns. We can build on this by looking at nouns functioning as complements to give more information. A subject complement follows a linking verb to tell us more about the subject. Mary is a teacher. Teacher tells us what Mary is. An object complement does the same for a direct object. I pronounce you husbands. And nouns can even disguise themselves as modifying adjectives. He is a speed demon. Speed is a noun, but right here it's acting exactly like an adjective to tell us what kind of demon he is.
Finally, let's look at one of my absolute favorite noun jobs, the appositive. An appositive is a noun that immediately follows another noun to further define it. Take this sentence. My brother, Michael, is 6 years old. Because Michael is set off by commas, it is non-restrictive. It's just extra information. By using commas, the writer is grammatically implying that they only have one brother, and oh, by the way, his name happens to be Michael.
Now compare that to a restrictive appositive, which has no commas. My brother Michael is 6 years old. Taking the commas away creates a subtle but massive shift in meaning. Because Michael is not separated by commas, the name is essential information to restrict or specify which brother we're talking about. This implies the writer has multiple brothers, and they need to clarify that the one named Michael is the 6-year-old. It's amazing how a noun's function, combined with a little bit of punctuation, literally changes reality. This level of grammatical mastery is what allows a writer to control exactly what the reader visualizes, completely preventing any confusion or misinterpretation.
Which leaves us right here. Nouns are far more than just person, place, or thing. They're the concrete foundation, the actors, the receivers, and the core architectural framework of our thoughts. Mastering these roles, from proper to abstract, countable to gerund, subject to appositive, is the absolute secret to polished, powerful communication. So, as you go about your day and put pen to paper or fingers to keys, I'll leave you with this. How will you wield these linguistic building blocks to architect your next great sentence? Keep exploring, keep writing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.